said it all? Yeah. It's a story. Now, it's apparent that Eric and Erica should have never got married. Because Erica cheated on Eric with Harry, who was married to Mary. But Harry and Erica wasn't in love. They just cheated with each other because everyone and their mother does. Now, witness and behold this young but fully developed 17-year-old girl who goes by the name of Pearl. And Pearl was walking down a dirt road in some remote town that nobody really knows. And then you've got Earl, who's heard about Pearl. But Earl's a 30-year-old perv who always has the urge for young girls. So early one day, Earl decides to go and try to find some young girl. And in the middle of his search, what do you know? Little old Pearl's walking down the middle of the road. Hello, little girl. My name's Earl. Your name's Pearl, isn't it? How'd you know my name? Coincidence. Now, I'm just kidding, little miss. I know a friend who knows a friend who told me about you. And I know how to love you if you allow me to. Now, please allow me to introduce myself more formally. Now, I don't normally do this, but you're so truthfully beautiful. So I decided to take the chance, and perhaps if the feelings are mutual, I can give you a ride to wherever you're going. So at 8:30 early that Thursday morning, 17-year-old Pearl and 30-year-old Earl drove off and went in their merry way on what seemed like just another wet, cold, and dreary day. Yeah.
That was good. All right.
It's perfect.
Let me go back in this tale a bit and tell a little bit more about Minister Eric's predicament. Yeah, we forgot to mention that Eric and his cheating wife Erica has a church up in Maryland where he is pastor of it. Now, isn't it scary how Eric and Erica weren't very intimate in marriage to the point that Eric didn't know that Erica was creeping over to Harry's house when Mary was out cheating with everyone else's spouse? Now, it's been about 16 years and 11 months since Eric and his wife Erica's wedding was. But something wasn't usual. Erica's stomach was protruding through a beautiful dress. Yet no one said a thing and had the nerve to address it. See, they had a secret. When Eric was still a deacon, he and Erica weren't exactly keeping their legs closed and then chose to produce a seed that grew to be a beautiful baby girl. You may remember her, Pearl. Now, it's very apparent that Erica, as a parent, isn't very aware that the daughter isn't a little girl any longer, because it's obvious Pearl is well endowed, and now her well endowment's hanging out of her blouse. But what can mother say? Well, mother does the same thing her daughter does on a regular basis. Save it, mother. Her daughter Pearl said, face it. What can you say? I look just like you with a facelift.
Metaphor extraordinaire. All right, let me come with it. Now, no 17-year-old girl wakes up in the morning and anticipates being raped in a 1994 four-door Ford Explorer. Just moments before all this, she was innocently on her way to the local store to break a $10 bill and some ones for a roll of quarters. Well, sort of. Okay, true. Maybe today she skipped school and didn't stay home because her mom was there, a housewife who didn't have a clue that her daughter was mad at her and her father because they constantly argued. Pearl's speculations went from potentially to eventually they would inevitably separate, and she couldn't deal with it. So she started popping pills to conceal how she was feeling inside. Getting high became a way to numb the pain, a way to cope, a place to go where she felt safe to run away. But you know what they say. You can run, but you can't hide. You can only suppress what lies inside of you for so long. Sooner or later, you're going to have to stop pushing the snooze button on the alarm and wake up, only to face up to the fact that you hate what you see in the mirror with smeared mascara running down your face from the tears wept and shed on what used to be your nightly basis to now an erratically crying teen who was having dreams of throwing her whole life down the drain by freebasing herself a new reality. Only Pearl didn't imagine, let's think, that in a blink of an eye, she would catch the eye of some guy who, to her surprise, actually thought she was beautiful, as if the start were unusual. And the rest would unfold like a redneck twist on a scene you would see in an old-school classic romance musical. Only this version of The Sound of Music don't have your typical happy ending. Nah, this romance went much further than what Pearl had anticipated or wanted. Because as soon as the romance started, Earl's plans to disarm this perfectly harmless girl of her untarnished armor was acknowledged. Every stitch of garment was ripped off her virginal body. Helplessly, wrestling, desperately yelling, please, no, don't, stop it! Shut up, don't fight back or say nothing. My wrongs are already pardoned by the same God your father serves. But where is God now, darling? Don't think that you recognize my face now, because I don't go to your daddy's little church to pay homage. And as soon as Earl was finished, Pearl was kicked to the curb and discarded like a piece of garbage. Slumped over in a puddle of tears and sorrow. How could she predict that someday one stranger would take her virginity in exchange for a fertile seed that is currently growing internally, gradually surfacing outwardly, revealing the evidence of a pregnant teen that's plain to see, because now it's starting to show externally. Yeah.
So Pearl finally works up the nerve to journal her thoughts down in a purple notebook. And it's a page turner because it's unheard of for a girl of her age to go through a journey so hurtful. Thoughts of pain circles through her mind as she works through the details of Earl's stroke, which she had honestly hoped to receive in due time, but cries as she realizes that she's just another rape victim. How sickening. Heavy tears in the eyes drip down to the page and smear out the place where she wrote down the time and date of the rape. What a shame. She writes down in all caps, how could this happen to me? I'm 17. She's heard this happens to girls half of her age that are randomly chased and candidly take candy from strangers and are handily taken in the back of raggedy station wagons, raped and end up mangled in black plastic bags at the bottom of lakes. What a horrid mistake she made caving into his weak game as he claimed she was the best thing he'd seen since Lisa Gibbons. And please forgive him for staring at her sleek frame. See, right there is where she should rethink the character of a man who would peek into the crease in between the cleavage and reach into his jeans and relayers. What was she thinking? Such an innocent, sweet, pretentious teen who seemed smart but went naive in 3 seconds. All because he mentioned she sent his blood pressure up and she should feel special because he meant it. Okay, let's recenter. Now she's pregnant and descends back into her dependency on antidepressants. And as she enters the free center to see if they can reach in and disconnect her fetus from its placenta, thoughts enter her mind, visions of her unborn child.
But wait, that's not all. Guess who walked in the room?
It's Harry the specialist, wearing his spectacles, carrying love messages. There in his pocket protector is Eric's address, and Erica's wedding ring is there on his chest.
Now, we regret to break this unfortunate news, but if you want to hear the rest and see how the story concludes, then you have to stay tuned. But for now, the story ends. Till we meet again, to be continued. Peace.